Hey, how about you, everybody? Welcome into another edition of the Auburn Live Show, Recruiting Edition, also known as the Shrivel Pod. I'm your host, Jeffrey Lee, Senior Recruiting Editor for, what side are we on? Auburn Live on 3.
That's the one.
And that is the one. Joined today by our recruiting analyst, Cole Pinkston, and our message board analyst. Dude, it's early, folks. Jhead.
What's up, Jay Lee?
All right, folks. So listen, we're recording on Tuesday morning. School's out next week. I'm going to take my son to Montana to do a little skiing, but we wanted to get a show in this week, so we're recording on Tuesday morning. Probably hearing this on Wednesday. Listen, if you're not a member of Auburn Live on 3, you should be. Right now, we got a special promo going, 1 week free. Give us a try. If you don't like it after a week, ditch us. Won't happen though. Promise you. Big news this week, guys, was no news at all.
Yes.
Which was, we talked about a little bit about it last week. UGA needed an offensive line coach. We knew the connections there with Will Friend. Of course, Mike Bobo being over there as an analyst, I believe. Is that right?
That's correct.
And
he's functioning as the senior offensive analyst over at UGA right now.
So there was some concern that Will Friend might be at least interested in that opening. Of course, now we know on Monday, Stacy, Cyril's former Auburn Tiger, came from UNC, I believe, to take the Georgia job, which leaves Will Friend at Auburn. And the momentum we had talked about last week with the offensive line recruiting, Cole and I had talked to several offensive line guys, all mentioning how big of a relationship and impact Will Friend is having on their recruitment with Auburn. So big news out of Auburn was no news, and Will Friend is staying put. So I thought that was probably the news of the week so far. Jay,
I couldn't agree more.
You were really big on Will Friend staying.
Listen, we all saw what offensive line recruiting was in last cycle, and I don't think it went the way Will Friend wanted it to. I don't think it went the way Coach Harsin wanted it to. But the focus was always on this class as far as offensive line recruiting was concerned. And he's prioritized a lot of kids that he had cultivated good, deep relationships with. Kids like Stanton Randall, kids like Beau Hughley, kids like the Fromley kid from Tuscaloosa County. Lots of Clay.
Dude, you're on AOL.
And if we had lost him, am I coming through?
You were kind of a little DJ in there, skipping the beat. But yeah, you were naming some guys: Formby kid, Ramel, Beau Hughley,
Clay
Whedon.
A lot of kids that he was circling the wagons on that he had cultivated a nice relationship with. And had he left and gone to Georgia, all that progress would have been for naught. So maintaining him as Auburn's offensive line coach. I mean, look, I think Will Friend is an outstanding offensive line coach, right? Just technically speaking, X's and O's. I think he's great at what he does. And that would have hurt the progress from that standpoint, and it would have hurt the continuity of the staff. But in recruiting, which is where this show is focused, I think it would have hurt us even more because with such a priority in this class and the guys that he had already cultivated relationships with, I mean, it might have been fatal in certain kids' recruitments. Might have been fatal. So
absolutely.
To be able to go from potentially losing him to, hey, we know he's going to be here from this point moving forward, that was a nice step forward for Coach Harsin and a big win for the staff.
You know, that was the thing that I personally wanted to see. I wanted to see with Will Friend staying on how Auburn could do offensive line recruiting. If Will Friend goes to Georgia or wherever, you know, there's that excuse again.
Yep.
You know, like, oh, well, maybe wait till 2024. No, man, I want to see what Will Friend can do in this class because of what he's already done. I want to see if he can get the flip from Beau Hughley. I really think he has a really good chance there.
I do too.
And, you know, if Friend goes to Georgia, it's a done deal because Hughley has that relationship with Friend. And Hughley, and I think Cole talked to him, was it Monday, Cole? When was that camp?
Sunday. Yeah, it was Sunday. I talked to him for a little while there, and I got the impression that Will Friend was a very big factor for him.
Right. And Cyril's is not known for his recruiting prowess. Of course, anybody can recruit well to Georgia. Anybody can recruit well to Alabama.
Yes.
You know, those two schools right now can make anybody a great recruiter. However, his recruiting prowess is not. He's not an elite. No, he's not known as an elite recruiter.
No, he's not Pitt Boss at this stage in his career. He's not Matt Luke. I think Stacy Searles is a phenomenal offensive line coach, and I'm sure, like you said, they'll put an analyst beside him that'll help him with his recruiting, and he'll do just fine. But he doesn't have those same relationships with the kids that Will Friend is recruiting, so he's going to be starting from scratch, trying to get into the game with some of these kids. So that's a leg up for us to have that consistency and continuity with the same offensive line coach coming back and being able to continuously sell that same pitch of playing time, which is big for a kid like Beau Hughley. And I know Cole can talk about that a little bit more because I think that's something he mentioned in his interview.
Yes.
And we definitely have playing time to give coming out of this cycle.
Right. Perfect time to get a big offensive line class because you're losing everybody, right?
Exactly. Losing 8 guys that have playing experience.
Wow.
Yeah. It's gonna be a big exodus. So
yeah.
Jhead, did you see who replaced Stacy Searles at UNC?
No, I haven't seen that
It
yet.
just came out before we started recording. Your boy Jack Bicknell. He left Louisville, the former Auburn coach, guys. I think he was here for a year, maybe under Gus.
yeah.
He was. After he got
he had come from the Pittsburgh Steelers, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, so he was at Ole Miss. He was previously at Pittsburgh and then Ole Miss. And that's where he was connected with UNC's offensive coordinator who came from Ole Miss to them. So they had a prior relationship. They both worked underneath Matt Luke. So Bicknell went back to work for him. And I'm trying to think of the guy's name. He's out of the air raid tree. I'll think of it here in a second. Got a nice flat top, but that's got to be relevant.
Sweet. You like those flat tops, don't you, Jay?
A little bit.
High and tight, baby. Hey, so today is March the 1st. As I said earlier, y'all keep that in mind when you're listening because this is probably going to be published on Wednesday. But today is the first day of the quiet period, which means the dead period is over. Recruiting visits, on campus visits can resume, and then coaches get one phone call per week, which I don't think that's ever really an issue. If a coach wants to talk to a kid, they'll tell the kid to call them. But technically the coaches can make that call. We've seen several offers go out. We've seen several more in the past couple of weeks. And last couple of days since the Under Armour camp in Atlanta on Sunday, which Cole was there, as well as Brian Harsin, who was there to see his son and maybe peek over at whomever else he wants to see.
Sure.
Who did we see offers go out to, Cole, after that Sunday camp? Yesterday, I know the kid from Texas, the Texas tight end.
Yeah, he was a 23 kid, and then you had some 24 kids that got.
Yeah, the 24 kids. There you go. Now, I don't think the Texas tight end was relative to the UA camp. The 2024 guys, which were, man, I talked to one of them, didn't I?
It was the kid from Leeds, and I can't think of his name at the moment.
Yeah. Kavion Henderson.
It's defensive lineman.
Yeah, the edge from Leeds.
And by the way, he was at the camp and performed really well amidst older, defensive linemen. So I thought that was a very worthy offer there. He looked good. He looked the part, I thought. So that's probably where the offer came from. If they saw any clips or anything from the camp.
Yeah. Well, of course, Brian Harsin was there as well. Maybe he saw enough.
He was, and he was watching, and he was allowed to. He was being dad to Davis, who had a pretty good day himself. I thought he's got a good arm, man.
Davis is good, man. He's a good quarterback. Oh, they offered Noah Dixon from Troup County, right down the road in LaGrange. 2024.
There you go. That's a big area for Auburn recruits to get back into West Georgia. I mean, that's a place that's been very profitable for us.
I was surprised just driving to Atlanta, and some people make fun of me for this. It's totally fine. You can if you need to. I didn't realize how close LaGrange was to Auburn. I'm just not with that side of the state. But
you're West Coast, baby.
Yeah, West Coast. But yeah, I mean, it's less than 30 minutes away, is it not?
Oh, it's 25 minutes.
I was like, man,
they got the best barbecue sauce down there in LaGrange. Man. Oh man, it's some good stuff down there. Tony Fair would have had a freaking bonanza.
Yeah, Tony
They
Fair.
need to keep Tony Fair out of LaGrange for a season, man.
Yeah.
Let's see. Dead period's over. So, hey, Cole, let's talk about that camp, man. What all did you see? I know you watched the Auburn Targets really closely. What were some of the guys that stood out to you? Just talk for a little bit. Just talk.
Yeah, I was heavy on the O-line, D-line. They were the first group of the day. Of course, it was cold and rainy. So anybody that was out there, in my opinion, is really wanting to compete. And I think even the people that ran it, like Tom Luganbill and the people from Under Armour were like, anybody that's out here today, it's like 48 degrees and raining. We believe in you.
That's good football weather, man.
Sure.
There you go.
Sure. Yeah. And I watched the offensive line, defensive line one-on-ones really closely. To me, Braden Joyner, Auburn's offensive line commitment, was really, really good in those. He's not the most impressive looking guy as far as size goes, but when he is in his pass set and when he's got his feet moving, he's pretty impressive.
Athletic.
Yes. I mean, he's got great feet. And that's what helps him in the pass set. I haven't seen him as much as a run blocker, so I can't really tell you what he is there, but as a pass blocker, just in the camp setting, going against really good competition. And let me just tell you, there's a couple people going, they're not in pads. Well, let me just tell you, I mean, there's some bloody noses. It was serious. Okay.
Yeah.
That's how this goes.
It gets heated.
Pads or no pads. This is real. They're getting after it.
Hand play's legit, especially in those camps, man.
Absolutely. That's why they started adding those, those cushion helmets that they were wearing for a while.
Yeah.
They didn't have those on, so it was live. But the guy that stood out to me is an Auburn target. He's committed to Georgia right now, and it's not Beau Hughley. And by the way, it is Hughley. He corrected me on that. So he said, you got to pronounce the G. I said, okay, I got you.
We've always been pronouncing it.
Yeah. Yeah, but man, Raquez McElderry.
Oh, man.
Ooh,
Kid from
yeah.
Anniston, dude.
Yeah, he can play.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, he came to Auburn's junior day back in January. I talked to him. Is he not committed to Georgia?
He is.
Dude, that dude did not sound like he was very firm to Georgia. He loved Auburn that day.
Yeah.
And
Same thing to me there.
And he's first cousins with Braden Joyner. Is that correct?
I don't know.
That's interesting. Braden's from Oxford, is he not?
He is. I'm pretty sure that they're first cousins.
Well,
so
they were
you got
hanging
a
out.
connection there.
Let me just tell you too about Braden. He is okay. Damari Austin was the vocal recruiter from the last class, right? He was the guy that was on Twitter recruiting guys and saying, hey, you know the move, come to Auburn, whatever.
Right.
Braden Joyner is not so much on Twitter. He does a little bit, but in person, this guy is. Let me tell you what he did. The first group that went out for the offensive line, defensive line drills, he assembled it. And he said, I want this guy, I want this guy, I want this guy to be out here on this first drill.
At the camp?
Yeah. And it was all Auburn targets.
He said it was like, hey, Luganbill, I got it, man.
No, I mean, well, it was just kind of a first come, first serve kind of thing. But Braden jumped out there in front. He got McElderry, he got Hughley, he got Kobe Keenum, he got Wilkin Formby. They were all out there in that first group.
They are first cousins.
Are they?
Yep. I thought that they were. That was my understanding of it.
You never cease to amaze me, Jhead.
Hey, I try, baby. I try.
But yeah, the Joyner, man, he's really working on some guys. He told me, here's a list of guys you need to talk to today because I'm working on it. So I was like, okay, I hear you, man.
That's so big, man.
It is to have that. And the center is supposed to be the leader of that group. And the last big offensive line group, one of the big offensive line groups we had a center like that in Reese Dismukes.
Yeah.
That really helped get us in with some other prospects. Who was the big kid out of Christian Westerman out of Arizona? That's the same class that got Greg Robinson. Monster offensive line class that year. So
who was this boy from Kozam from Colorado?
Well, Kozam was the next class. I think it was him and Avery Young.
Oh, Avery Young, man, that was a good damn lineman.
Patrick Miller.
That was
Patrick Miller.
Was that not the 2013 offensive line? Avery Young, Kozan, Dismukes.
You got it. That was
Nick Marshall and Trey Mason were great. I'm not taking anything away from them, but they had some really good help that year.
Yeah, they did, because you had, I think, left to right, it was Greg Robinson at left tackle, Alex Kozan at left guard, Dismukes at center. I'm blanking who was at right guard, but Avery Young was your right tackle in that group.
Hey, Jhead, you over there texting Braden Joyner right now? Because he just dropped on Twitter to Raquez McElderry. What you waiting on, cuz? Come home.
Not texting him, brother, but I can after this gets over with.
That was me.
Oh, okay. I got you. I was like, man, what timing? That's amazing.
That's how I'll confirm Jhead.
There you go. There you go, baby.
He said, yes, sir. First cousin.
He dropped.
I said, you any kin to Raquel?
I like that. Hey, man, crack research staff right there, baby.
There you go, baby.
That's excellent, man.
So, hey,
Right,
which makes me even more excited about this offensive line class, the potential, at least, of this class,
Yes.
the relationships that are already established. Will Friend staying. You've got a guy like Braden Joyner, who's obviously leader on the field as well as off. And you've got really good linemen in this class that Auburn's got a really good shot with. This state right here, Georgia is loaded always, Florida. And, I'm excited to see what this class, offensive line class, is going to look like in that there's really no excuses. They've been here a year. The visits have been open. There's no pandemic holding them back. The coaches are in sync. Keesaw's your offensive coordinator. You got Harsin, Keesaw, Will Friend. Everybody's, been around the program for 14 months at least now. Is that right?
Easily 14, I think, going into 15 months now.
15 months. The relationships have been formed. The kids have been on visit. They did a fantastic job of getting these kids. Cole and I to Georgia in the Alabama game this past year. There's not going to be those two big games this year. Penn State, probably the biggest one, right?
Yeah, I would think so.
But
Penn
they did
State,
such a good job
Arkansas
of getting
coming to town.
Yeah, it's A&M.
Yes, A&M. So those are probably your three
LSU.
big games right there. LSU.
You've only got 4 away games next year, so
Damn, really?
Yes.
Alabama, Georgia,
Ole Miss, and Mississippi State.
Sweet.
Yeah, that's
Not
it.
bad, man. Not bad.
Worked out pretty good.
But I thought they did a great job. I didn't realize how great of a job they did when I was at the Georgia and Alabama games, getting the recruits and who was there, because I was so focused on 2022 guys. But that was the first time I met Clay Whedon. That was the first time I think I met Beau Hughley.
It was almost impossible to catch all the guys at the games. I mean, they were flocking in, man. It was crazy.
Yeah, star-studded.
Oh, Kai Preem was at both of those games.
He was.
And then you have a lot of these kids coming back. The focus, obviously, in January was offensive line, or the linemen, big daddies. And then, we're keeping our eye out on March. Now that the dead period is over, I tell you what, we talked a little about, the support staff additions in the offseason Auburn has made. One of the big one was Director of Player Personnel, Stephen Ruzick, who Jhead, tell me about him. I know he's got a lot of ties in Georgia. He's been he's been a big help in signing a lot of classes that were, I know he's at UT Chattanooga, North Carolina with Billy, right?
That's correct. With Billy High, former director of recruiting at Auburn. He's been at Minnesota, I think, underneath PJ Fleck at one point.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Ole Miss, UT Chattanooga, Ole Miss, Minnesota, North Carolina all had top recruiting classes there when he was there. And I think his father, if I'm not mistaken, his father was a coach at Warner Robins.
That's correct. So he's the son of a high school football coach in the state of Georgia, knows a lot of high school coaches in Atlanta, and then particularly from South Georgia. So he's connected down there. So look, when you have a staff and you have a head coach like Coach Harsin is coming from a completely different part of the country, having guys behind the scenes like him that can help formulate those relationships is just, it's massive, because there's only so many hours in a day. You can only have so many phone calls and so many different conversations with various high school coaches before you have to concentrate on your team, your scheme, everything else that's going on in the culture of your program. recruiting can only be so much of the day. It can't be your sole focus. So having guys like him in place that can connect you in a talent-rich state like Georgia is invaluable. And he's honed his skills as far as player evaluation is concerned. And there's some really, really good player personnel guys and coaches. I mean, you think about PJ Fleck at Minnesota, they have been first on a lot of kids from an evaluation standpoint, particularly here in the Southeast, because you're not going to get that same level of athlete up in the Midwest. So they've recruited it heavy, and they've had to evaluate early, which aids Auburn here, because what do we need to do a little bit quicker on? Probably pulling the trigger on some offers and our early evaluations. I think we're very thorough, and I like that aspect of it, but I think being first sometimes is better than being thorough with certain kids. So I think he really helps us there. I like the stock. He's obviously from the Patrick Suttus tree and Billy High, who I
Patrick
think
Suttus, Billy High, yes. Both of those
very high
guys.
on both of those guys from a player evaluation standpoint. So I think he's been a really great connector behind the scenes and another good evaluator on the staff.
I think some of the subtle changes that we've seen Auburn make in the past couple of months, I think was because of Stephen. I think Patrick Suttus was probably one of the better DPPs that I've seen at Auburn. I mean, he's a top 3 guy for me. And Auburn's had some good ones before, but Patrick Suttus, who is still with at Georgia Tech, if I'm not mistaken.
Actually, he just left and he's now at UNC now. I think Cole was about to say that.
Good.
Suttus is at UNC.
Yeah, he's back working for Mac again. I think he kind of saw the writing on the wall with Jeff Collins, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah, so I love what Auburn's doing behind the scenes. We've talked about Joe Bernardi. We've seen Rock Bellatoni get promoted up. I'm really excited about Ike Hilliard at the wide receiver position. I talked to Camden Brown the other night, the Auburn wide receiver signee from down in South Florida, who was very excited about Ike Hilliard. And I think that's going to be the norm when you're talking to these wide receiver recruits, is that he was a stud player. Played for 12 seasons in the NFL, coached for 11 seasons in the NFL. He's got such a great resume with kids that he's coached. Was it Claypool, Juju Smith-Schuster?
Yeah.
Juju Smith-Schuster.
Yeah. So I think that's going to go a long way in with wide receiver recruits. I think Christian Robinson's going to be fantastic at linebacker. We know Zach's going to be good. We know Cadillac's going to be good. We love Will Friend. I mean, Jimmy Brumbaugh also.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I'm going to give Jimmy some love.
Yes,
I think
sir.
He's been working really, really hard. And sometimes when guys have not had, I mean, you look at where Brumbaugh's been. He's been at Kentucky, Maryland, Colorado. Those are not places that are going to put you just when you walk into a school where you're going to have a blue chip prospect's attention. You got to really work behind the scenes to get kids like that. And he's been relatively successful. But now he's at a place like Auburn that he can sell because he experienced it himself. And sometimes that is an invaluable recruiting pitch when you can say, this is what Auburn University did for me. And nobody's going to work harder right now than Jimmy Brumbaugh to prove to Auburn and to Coach Harsin that they made the right choice. I assure you this, if they don't land a studded defensive line class, it's not going to be because of lack of effort from Jimmy Brumbaugh. That's for sure.
Right.
Yeah. And I had a couple of guys at the camp that mentioned him as well. Jamal Jarrett, 4-star guy from North Carolina, I believe.
Yes. Yep. He's a Nietzsche Sledge's big time friend.
Yeah. He went back to that Jeffrey reported. He said, my brother in Nietzsche Sledge. He said, man, we're close. Yeah. Like my brother. So, I mean, just him being there, I have got to take a look at Auburn. No matter what. That's what he told me. And then you had TJ Cersei, who I'll have a little bit more on later this week, who is sort of an edge prospect, but he's sort of in between because he's like in the 240, 250 range, and he's a good looking prospect. Said that Coach Brumbaugh was definitely keeping in touch and that he wanted to go meet him and all that. He was excited about it. So.
And I think in your story, he's coming the 19th. Is that right, for the big junior day recruiting weekend?
I think he is.
Who is this?
TJ Cersei.
And I'm with you, Cole. I think his body type, he grows into an end. I don't think he'll be able to stay on the edge, but he's got some quick twitch to him. That's for sure.
He could be a sort of a hybrid there. I think he can move around because he's very quick. He's got a great get off, and he was very good in the one-on-ones. He made a few tackles that were supposed to be pretty good look bad. So yeah, man. I got a few more guys too that
go for it, man. Roll them off.
Mention on the D line, Jamal Jarrett was the MVP. He's just unblockable. He's big.
I mean, is he stud, dude? Is he a stud? Is he?
Yeah. He almost has the look of an offensive lineman just because he's built that way, but he's got the get off. He's got all that. He's good with his hands. And he was they couldn't stop him. So he was one that stood out. And, I talked to him. I put an article up on him Monday. TJ Cersei was good. Just mentioned him. Hunter Osborne was there. He's a big in-state guy. Very, very good. Very impressive.
Okay.
In the drills, right?
Okay.
In the drills beforehand. Just agility wise, he can move for a big guy. One of the best, quickest feet, good hands, all that, getting around the cones and stuff like that. I thought he was one of the better guys there. Struggled in the one-on-ones. Now he was matched up with Raquez McElderry. And
that may be why he struggled then.
It was tough. I'm telling you, he had a rough time with him, but I give credit to McElderry on that. And, I don't know if Osborne's going to be playing that inside technique like he was. I think he's going to be more of an end.
Yeah. Strong side guy.
Yeah. More of a 5 tech.
Yeah. I think he's going to be fine. He just, he's not really an inside guy. That's kind of how that went. So he was impressive though, as far as a prospect and his size and moving and all that. Getting away from offensive line, defensive line, I thought maybe the most impressive guy of any position there was Jelani Tank Thurman.
I was going to ask you about that. I have heard some rave reviews with his catch radius and his wingspan coming out of that, where he was basically playing like a wide receiver, but there was nobody that could check him.
And I asked him, I said, I saw you got an award there at the end. What is that? He said, I won best receiver. I said, I thought you were tight end. He goes, well, yeah, I am. I was like, okay.
Was he like a Landon King build?
Yeah, he is. He's got to be every bit of 6'6". I mean,
shit, really?
Yeah, he's impressive looking.
Doubles as a basketball player. I think he averaged 10 points and over 12 rebounds a game this past year.
Yeah, you know what? I would not be surprised if Auburn really, really wanted him, that they gave him some kind of deal to play basketball. We've seen that. We've seen them attempt this.
Where's he from?
Langston Hughes High School.
Yeah. He's the Langston, the quartet from there, right?
One of the
You're right. Yes, sir.
Yeah, one of the Fab Four, actually Fab Five, because they got a 2024 quarterback who was also there in Air Nolan.
How was he, man?
He almost resembles. He got sort of a same stature as like TJ Finley, like he's big.
Okay.
I didn't see him throw that much, but as far as appearance, he's pretty impressive. But yeah, Thurman, man, one thing, he's got the catch radius, he's got the size, but he was actually running really precise routes, getting away from people, from smaller DBs. I was like, man, that guy right there, he's got the whole package, it seems like.
Hey, Landon's not tall like that, is he? Landon's like 6'2", 6'3".
He's 6'5".
Landon King is?
Yeah.
See, I told y'all. I told y'all they was just built just alike.
Look,
they're very, very close.
Little scoop on Landon King to deviate, and I want to get back to Thurman, but I expect to see him play some flanker this year, some Z on the outside, and I think you're going to see him as that guy that can go up and do catch some 50-50 balls, really kind of be that vital piece we need down
like
there.
Sal Cannella?
Yeah,
I would say Sal Cannella on steroids, but
Okay, all right.
Probably got a higher ceiling than Sal.
Little Winstraw.
Unless you're talking about clothing line, I'd say I definitely agree with you.
Yeah.
I believe Sal is one of the several that was UCFL draftee, was he?
Yes,
not?
he was.
I think he was.
Big ups to him. I saw Calvin Ashley got drafted.
Markel Harrell.
Okay.
Yeah. And I did say that for Markel. That's big.
Yeah, Marquette was good, man.
There were some
He really
cats that
was.
have been out of football for a while.
I know it. They're staying in shape.
I was like, hey, man,
Look,
let me get the old wing warmed up.
Y'all need
looking like Uncle Rico out there.
hey, y'all,
Yeah.
everybody, they need a long snapper, right?
Go get it, Cole.
Or something.
Never too
Hey,
old to long snap.
They're housing them up there in Birmingham for what is it, like 12 weeks or whatever their season's going to be. They're going to play every game right there in the new stadium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything is in that one stadium, right?
Yeah, everything's in that one stadium minus I think like the championship game and maybe one of the playoff games is going to be up in Columbus, Ohio. But everything
Okay.
else is going to be right there in Birmingham.
All right. All right. Hey, so we talked a little bit about this before the show, but last week, guys, we think Auburn could be the leader for if signing a day were tomorrow. Auburn probably got a good shot with signing some folks, named off of several guys. Jhead has got a good idea on that. We're going to each week, since we're going to make this a weekly show, we're going to start breaking it down by position. So since we are on offensive line kick this week, I tell you what, if we each can name 5 guys, and of those 5 guys, we think Auburn will sign 2 or 3 of them. That'll take us off the hook for, hey, 5 guys, here you go. No, man, hey, I'm going to give you 5 guys, 5 names, and I think Auburn, I don't know which ones, but I think Auburn will sign at least 2 of these guys. Does that sound fair?
That's fair with me.
And we can have the same ones. It doesn't matter. That just further strengthens our prediction that there will be in Auburn. If 2 or 3 of us all agree that this guy is going to be, at least right now, we know a lot can change, a lot can happen before December signing day, but just to make it fun, and we ain't scared to go out on a limb.
Ain't scared.
So I'll say what we'll do offensive line this week. I mean, I feel like I got 5 names that I think Auburn's going to get 2.
Easily.
This week.
I think we could go 5 for 5 on this, to be completely honest with you. I feel like some of these guys.
Nice flex.
All right.
Yeah.
I say we'll go offensive line this week, defensive line next week.
Sounds good to me. Maybe
it doesn't include edge.
There we go. I like that.
Doesn't include edge. So this week, offensive line, we've talked a lot about the guys a lot of us like. Who wants to go first? Give me 5 that you think Auburn will get 2.
5 that Auburn will get 2. I'll jump in first. So we're going to go Clay Whedon, number 1 pick on the board right there.
Okay.
I'm going to go Stanton Ramel, number 2.
Oh, really?
Good pick.
Yes, sir. I'm going to go Beau Hughley, number 3.
Good pick.
Frombley, number 4. And I'm going to say, this is going to be my one guess. I'm going to say Raquez McElderry, number 5, just because I think the Will Friend connection there, the Braden Joyner connection to him. I love the in-state Anniston being significantly closer to Auburn than it is to UGA. And then the playing time angle that we can sell. I just think that things are going to line up there for us to be able to kind of close that one out in the end.
I like it. Now, are you ordering those in most confident in to least confident? Is that how you're doing that?
That's how I'm doing that.
Okay.
I'm going to do that as well.
Okay.
Let me start with Stanton Ramel.
There you go.
I said his name wrong. He told me, and now I can't remember. So
Ramil.
We'll have to go back. Ramil.
Hell, I don't know, dude. You asking the wrong dude.
I got it on recording. I'm gonna go back, make sure we get that right. But I'm gonna go with him first.
Okay.
I do think he's in the take category.
Yep.
The tackle, because that is probably, I'm not going to say it's a bigger position of need than guard or center, but it's just, it's one that you have to, when you see somebody that's worth taking, you got to go for it there, because there's just not too many tackles out there. It's a special position for a reason. So I'll go Stanton Ramil. Number 2, let me go with Clay Whedon.
Yep.
Number 3, I will go with Raquez McElderry.
I like that.
Just because I just from talking to him, it really seemed like Auburn was on his mind. I know he's committed to Georgia, but Will Friend likes him. Will Friend is working really hard. He's got some great help from Joe Bernardi, and all the, everybody seems to like him a lot too. And I just think that with the need, there's a real good chance that they could flip him. And speaking of flips, number 4 for me will be Beau Hughley.
There you go.
And feeling better about that one now that we know. And for the record, I don't think Will Friend was heavily pursuing that job. I think they had him as a name. I don't know if they contacted him. I don't know all of that. I just think that he likes it at Auburn. I think he was pretty solid there. So number 5, I'll throw a wild card out there. Just from talking to him, just from the vibe I get, he's wanting to visit. He wants to play in the SEC, and he's really only has 2 SEC offers from Auburn and Tennessee. I'll go Elijah Page out of Arizona.
That's a big one. That's a big one.
Yeah. I think once he gets on campus and sees things, I think he'll really like Auburn. Just, I base that on just talking to him and seeing his personality and how much he considers playing in the SEC a big deal. So that'll be my wild card there.
I like it, man. He was. I was going down through the offers. Wanted to make sure I wasn't missing anyone. I think the only one, and I've been trying to get in touch with this cat, but and you mentioned him last week, Jay. He had Zechariah Owens. Not really sure what's going on with him right now. I know he came to a couple of games, if I'm not mistaken. Cole, did he not? We saw him a couple of times on the sidelines this week. Have not been able to get in touch with him, but he would definitely be on my list to pull from. He would be on my draft board.
That's
Zechariah Owens.
Cool too that Auburn's gotten somebody from before, if I'm not mistaken. Eagles Landing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Was it Andrew Williams? Lineman?
Yes, sir.
It sure
Andrew
was.
Williams.
What
Over
about
UGA on national signing.
What about Richard Jibinor? You remember this guy?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Before he transferred to Troy.
Loved him, man.
Was he from Eagles Landing? Am I wrong on that?
I can't remember. Boy, he was twitchy though, man. God.
He went to Troy and tore it up.
Yeah, he did. I think he had double-digit sacks this past year.
He was on his way to being really good at Auburn too. I don't remember what happened there, but anyway.
I don't either. But
the field, he got that DUI, and there were a couple other things.
Oh,
yeah, you're right.
That did happen. Yeah.
He's from Athens, Georgia.
Athens. Is that
Athens Christian?
Okay.
Okay.
That makes sense.
But that dude was all about work. His body, man. He was all about his body. He had a gallon of something. I don't know what it was, creatine or what, but he had a gallon of milk jug, and you never saw him in the complex without it. He was carrying that milk jug. It might have been the corn liquor. Hell, I don't know.
Look, and I remember his recruitment, and that was a fight between T. Will and Rodney on who he was. They both wanted him big time because what an athlete he was.
He's your prototypical edge guy, no doubt.
Absolutely. Let me throw some names out there. So some of these guys, some of our listeners, here are the guys that we're choosing these 5 over. Then I'm gonna get to my list, but Kaden Proctor is a 5-star guy. Auburn is Auburn. Some of these guys, but very little chance he even visits Auburn, much less commits. Charles Jaguza from Rhode Island, 4-star. Remember him? Auburn offered him. Samson Okolonla.
I believe
Auburn's been on him. So go ahead.
5th star with on 3, by the way.
He did get it.
Yeah, he did.
Samson
Okolonla. Rightfully so. His tape is nasty.
A lot of Northeast guys,
Yes.
A lot of. Is Illinois Midwest? Hell, I don't know.
Yeah, it's in Midwest. We'll call it that.
I don't know.
They do some big buck hunting out there.
Is Illinois not straight above Alabama?
North? Straight, with a couple states in between.
Yeah, but as far as east-west goes,
yeah, you're directly north.
Yeah, man. How can that be Midwest? I've always been curious about the Midwest. This is the dumbest geographical region I've ever heard of. Because the hell it ain't west. Is it west of the Mississippi? Maybe that's what they mean.
I think that's where the term's coming from.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll allow it for now. Beau Hughley, Lucas Simmons from down in Clearwater, Florida. Miles McVay. We all like Miles McVay.
I would love.
That's a good one.
He's coming back.
I'm gonna put him maybe on 5 as my wild card.
Okay.
maybe as my wild card, just to throw some new names in there. Zechariah Owens, we talked about him. Again, I'd like to talk to him, but right now, the recruiting prediction machine on 3 has UCF and South Carolina. That seems like 2 teams Auburn should be able to overcome. I'm going to have, just to get some new names on our list, I'm going to have Zach Owens. I mean,
Okay.
I gotta have one thing we all agree on is McElderry, Beau Hughley, Hughley, Beau Hughley, Clay Whedon, Brock West, McElderry. I'm gonna tell you where I'm gonna go on a limb here. I really feel good about Braden Joyner.
Oh yeah, just a little bit, huh?
Hey, wow. Calm down a little bit.
A lot of Midwest guys. There's Logan Reichert from Missouri. Another guy we should probably keep an eye on is N. Jeffrard.
Yes, definitely.
Definitely.
Put him down. We talked about Owens. And there's another Connecticut guy. Remember that alien guy, Olanis?
Lennon.
That's what I said. Elijah Page. Luke Montgomery's committed to Ohio State.
Yeah.
Madden Sanker. What about him, Cole? What do you know about Madden Sanker?
I put up a story on him on Monday as well.
He's from Douglasville, Georgia, just west of Atlanta.
Yes. He's one of the more interesting guys that I've talked to, and here's why. He is not shy to say, here's the deal. I really like Coach Harsin. I really like Coach Friend. I think they got a great vision, but I got to see what they do on the field first.
Yeah.
That's what I need to see.
Respect.
And he told me too, he said, my recruitment's way open. Like, I haven't narrowed down anything yet. Anybody could come in right now and make a play. He's very, he's a good talker. He knows he's intelligent. So he's going, I'm looking at this as nobody's too late to the game for me. If it's the right school, it's the right school. He mentioned Miami, Louisville, Michigan State. A lot of the offensive linemen mentioned Michigan State.
Dude, they're all over. Every recruiting update that I do, Michigan State has offered. Michigan State has offered. Michigan State has offered. I don't know is it Mel Tucker?
No. Who's the offensive line coach there? Do we know that? Because that's the one they keep mentioning to me. They're like,
he's a former target at Auburn. I'm trying to think. He was a longtime offensive line coach for the guy that got fired up at UNC a couple years back, Larry Fedora.
Yeah.
Who's his offensive line coach? I'm trying to think of something with a K.
Yeah,
Kapilovich.
There you go.
That's it.
Chris Kapilovich.
This guy right here, he's making some waves down in the South with some O-line prospects because they really like him. I can't remember who else. Maybe Stanton Ramil said something about him, and Sanker did, and I think maybe Wilkin Formby. So yeah, that I don't know if they're going to land any of those guys, but they're certainly trying to give themselves a chance.
Well, and the narrative around that program has changed completely. When you look at what they did during the COVID season, by comparison to what they did this year, winning double-digit games, and Mel got that massive contract to stay right there at Michigan State.
Yeah,
so
man.
the continuity is going to be there, and it's just so much easier to recruit when you got that kind of positive energy.
Oh, yeah. When you know your coach is going to be there, you can recruit.
That's right.
Surely helps a lot.
I'm gonna give you my list. And here's some of my thinking. I'm gonna think out loud on some of these guys. Stanton Ramil, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. And this goes for the Wilkin Formby. Okay.
Yep.
He's a Tuscaloosa guy. Rammel's father played at Alabama. His grandfather played at Auburn, but his father played at Alabama. He's originally from New York, come down here. So my takes on both of those guys is I like Auburn by default should Alabama not pursue.
Yes.
Right.
If Alabama wants Formby in November, they'll get him. If Alabama wants Rammel in November, December, things will change. But we're not talking about that, fellas. This list is for now, right?
Right.
And I will say this on Rammel, what I have been told is if he commits, he's sticking. He's not going to flip.
Okay.
So if Auburn can get him in the boat early, I think he'll stay loyal.
I believe that as well. Just from talking.
Fondly, I don't get that same feel from his recruitment. I feel like if Alabama comes at any point, he'll flip to them.
Okay, I'm going with Beau Hughley, McElderry,
McElderry.
that dude.
There you go.
Wait a minute, what? Well, how do you pronounce it?
I gotta ask him. I'm gonna have to ask him.
It's
McElderry.
McElderry, right?
Man, y'all, wait, I'm awful.
Isn't it Smith? I think it's Smith.
Yeah, Williams.
Jones.
It's
Would be nice if you get some of those
McElderry.
Yeah.
What did you say it was, Jhead? McElderry?
I think I said McElderry.
McElderry. I bet you that's what it is, man.
Hey, look, man.
It ain't McElderry.
You got to win at it.
What'd you say?
Man, brother, don't make me say it again. Come on now.
No, I think you're right.
I think it's Rockwell's McElderry.
McElderry.
Yeah.
They only said his name 20 times. I should know, but
oh my gosh, I feel like an idiot. I've never said, "Hey, Mr. McElderry."
Watch it be McElderry when I ask him.
It is. I'm gonna go with it. But I do like, just from my conversation post January Junior Day with him.
Yeah,
he's not gonna sign with Georgia.
No, I don't think so.
I think Jhead wrote on the corner that Alabama could in the mix with him. Did I see that? Was that you? Or was that Cole?
Yeah, so he's a kid that Alabama's monitoring, and somebody they could definitely turn up the heat on. I think they're going kind of reevaluating their board because they've transitioned offensive line coaches. Their previous offensive line coach has gone back to, I think he's with the New Orleans Saints now, and they brought in Kentucky's former offensive line coach. So they're kind of reevaluating their board and retooling as to what they think they're going to need moving forward. But he's a guy that can make a play on for sure.
Okay, so my top three right now are Hughley, God bless America, Rockwez,
McElderry.
Yeah, Clay Whedon for sure.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I'll go with Ramil.
Yeah, I think that's a good play.
I'll go with Stanton, and then for my fifth and final spot, I'll go either with Zachariah Owens or Ian Jeffrard, just to kind of get some names on there. And just since I got to pick one, I'll go with Owens. And remember, this is 5 that I think Auburn's going to get 2 from.
Yep.
Right.
Okay. So I'm going to go with Owens, and I'm going to have Ian Jeffrard as my first alternate.
I'm going to be honest with you. I think all 4 of it, I think that there are 4 on your list, as they were 4 on mine, Cole's list as well. I feel almost, and I'm almost stab Hokuston in the back on this one. I'm going to say 70% on 4 of those guys.
Clay Whedon, Ramil, Hughley, and Rockwell.
Yeah.
McElderry. God,
I just feel like those 4 are going to land in Auburn. I think the playing time is important to all 4. I think they've been prioritized. And I think I like it. Well, I like the relationship that Will Friend has there, and that Joe Bernardi's been able to couple with him as well.
I'll say this too. Sorry, Jhead.
No, you go ahead, Cole.
If Auburn offers Kobe Keenum in the next, I'm gonna say I think there's a timeline, a time limit with him. I really do. If they offer him in the next month, they will have a great chance. If they wait, they're not going to have a good chance.
But what's going to change in the next month? Like, you can't see him, right? There's no eval period.
He can come to campus
in April. Yeah, there you go. He can come visit, show some. Yeah, okay. Yeah. He would be on my draft board.
Yeah,
he would be on my draft board.
Not right now, just because he doesn't have the offer, and he wants the offer, but he's also not. He's not sweating it. You know, if they don't, he's got a lot of other schools that like him a lot, and that's what he's interested in.
He's from North Alabama, right?
He is from Mars Hill. Is it
Mars Hill Bible High School?
Well,
I think he's a really good player. I get him. My understanding is they're recruiting him as a center and already having Braden Joyner in the class. I'm just not sure if he's going to get the offer or not. I think he could also play guard, and Cole can probably correct me on that.
No, you're right.
But right now, I feel like he's being evaluated as a center and already having one in the class. I think that's what's holding up the offer.
Now, it is possible. I saw Braden Joyner playing a lot of guard, just in the one-on-ones. Really doesn't matter, but you know, it's just about matchups there. But he was at the guard spot a lot, and I don't know if it was him or Keenum that mentioned to me that they had sort of communicated about being sort of versatile. You know, that Joyner could play guard, or that Keenum could play guard and center, and they would try to maybe work that out to try to get Keenum in the mix, but I just don't know where they're at on that. So
Sure.
that's what I'm watching. If they do, like I said, if they offer him soon, I think they got a shot. If they wait, I don't think so.
Well, and when you have guys like McElderry and Clay Whedon on the board that are both going to be interior guys, and you already have one in the fold in Joyner,
yeah,
I think you're just kind of trying to weigh your options there. Do you need to offer Keenum? You know, you just don't know.
Right.
Coincidentally, Mars Hill, if I'm not mistaken, was one of the schools that Brian Harsin visited during the contact period.
I believe so.
As per AL.com, that would be
there you
correct.
go. That's where I saw it. Hey, well, so let's next week we're going to do defensive lineman, not including edge.
Okay.
And next week, so we'll have your list for next week. We're going to cut it off there, folks. I do have several how about yous, man. We had a lot of good posting going on this week, and I'm just going to read them out because there's a lot of them, man. All Beast, AUBeast, PH Perry 87, Zuni, big how about you to Zuni, and Silver Fox 76, at Killing Time, at Tank Biggs, man. Some of these guys are hilarious on the corner.
Oh yeah.
So anytime, man, you make me LOL, I'm going to give you a how about you here on the Shriveled Bud. At Leo the Tiger, he did it twice, man. This is a double shout out to at Leo. At Moon Weagle, I think he's a how about you veteran by now. I think he's gotten 2 or 3. At Jimmy AU, at Old Crow, at Granite Tiger, that's my dog right there, and at Mitch Douglas.
Hey.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12. We got a dandy dozen. How about you today? Yeah. Does anybody want to add on to those?
I got some, but Cole, do you have any?
All right.
I just been wanting to talk about this one guy that uses his email address as his username.
Stud.
I can't think of what it is. It's like Bruce something, but man, that is kudos, man.
At Bruce something. I got you, big dog.
Hey, do your thing, man.
I hear you.
Everybody's like, why have you not changed your username? He's like, this is my username. It's my email.
I'm gonna roll with it.
I am who I am.
Who cares?
Deal with it.
Oh, by the way, Jeffrey, let me show you this real quick. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Indiana is directly above Alabama.
And it's somehow, and Ohio is somehow considered the Midwest. I do see Illinois is probably west of the Mississippi. Now, if it's west of the Mississippi, I'm okay with it.
It is west of.
I still don't consider Ole Miss. I mean, what's the Mississippi divide? Mississippi and Louisiana, right?
I don't know. Is it?
I don't think Louisiana is west, although Texas is right there. I don't know, man. I'll have to do so. But the Midwest, that whole Midwest region, always bothered me because they were due north of everybody that's southeast. So how can you be above north of southeast and somehow be Midwest?
I'm with you there.
Midwest to me is Nebraska. You're middle of the country and west.
The Shrivel Pod, where you can get your recruiting updates and geography lessons.
I mean, I felt I'm tired of bashing the road construction crews around here. So
hey, look, that's right. You got to pivot to someplace, right?
The Midwest region is dumb. It's dumb as I don't know. I don't get it. So Jhead, you've got some how about yous?
I do. So I'm gonna start off with not an insider.
Guy
that I've been swapping DMs with him for a long time. He kind of keeps me abreast on some things that I need to know behind the scenes. So I want to give him a big shout out. I want to give one of Jeffrey's favorites, Rice CP, a shout out. He just found out he's going to be a dad for the second time.
Hey. Rice
so
DP?
I want to tell him I want to say congratulations to Rice.
That is, just to be clear, that is the Rice, right?
Correct. That is the one and only Rice.
Rice.
There are a few.
Good for him, man. Congrats, D. Rice.
That's right. And then I want to give Danny Archer a shout out.
Oh, shit.
2 weeks in a row. I like Danny's tone on the board this week. I like how he came out. And basically what Danny said is, look, I'm going to take a step back from from some of the hostility, but I want everybody to know when my coach gets stabbed in the back, I'm going to come out and fight for him on the board.
I like it.
So respect, Danny.
Absolutely, man. I got an RIP this week to Shakers Jack. RIP Big Dog.
There you go. I like it.
Yeah, man. I've come around in my old age to the only way I'm going to ban you really right now is if you're bad for business.
There you go.
If nobody likes you and you're just a prick and you turn people away from the message board, I don't want you. Yeah. To me, I've always said the best company for addition by subtraction is the internet, the message board world.
There you go.
You kick off one bad poster and you're going to get 3 or 4 other guys jumping in saying, hey, I'll post now. So RIP Shakers Jack. And let's wrap it up there, fellas. That's a good long show. I'm going to head to Montana on Thursday. We're going to go up to Christian Clemente from Rivals. Actually put me up on Bridger Bowl above Bozeman to go skiing.
Get out of here.
Yeah, he's from Bozeman. He's the king of Bozeman. His mom's a queen. She was in Yellowstone,
right?
Yeah. And she sent me some caramels before. So, I'm pretty famous.
Big shout out to Christian Clemente.
Yeah.
Man.
Nice.
Because last year I was, Breckenridge and all those other big ritzy places. Dude, I can't afford that shit with 3 kids, 3 boys. Christian was like, dude, you need to go check out Bridger Bowls. Nobody goes to Bridger Bowl. I mean, it's not a big touristy attraction.
Sure.
And we did, man. It's very economical. So we're gonna go up there and try it out. Be back Tuesday.
Well, we're gonna need a recap of that trip then.
Absolutely. And so I'll have my defensive line board. Let's record next Thursday, fellas. We'll publish for Friday. Get back on that track for next week. Unless this is a better time for our producers up in Nashville, because he was pretty excited that we were doing it today and not Thursday. So I think end of the week might be sucky for him.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll figure that out when I get back and see if we can't get this on a consistent basis. But have your defensive line boards ready next week, fellas. And for Cole, for Jhead, I'm Jeffrey Lee. How about you?